Welcome everybody. Today I want to talk about a book, as the title suggests. I'm going to talk about Plato and the Republic. I have the Portuguese version here, but I'm going to do the video in English. And actually I've listened to the audiobook in English, so I'm just getting started on this one, and it is very difficult to read when you're just learning the language. I mean, my Portuguese is on a good level, but my old Portuguese is not. So what is the book about? In the book, Plato, the famous Greek philosopher, and some of his friends and fellow philosophers discuss the idea of the ideal state, and they discuss how it should be, whom should be governed, who should govern, what is justice, and all those kind of things. And for me, from a psychological point of view, there are two very important things to get out of this. First, I mean, non-psychologically, there's a lot of interesting things happening when you look at politics. I don't want to talk about politics, even though it is very interesting to really read this book and think along with the philosophers. But psychologically speaking, there are two very important things. One is Plato and also his friends are very critical. So whenever there's something in an argument that they don't really understand or they're not really convinced of, they directly say it, and they say, hey, this is not true, or this is not what I think, or I don't understand what you mean. They're very critical. And even when a lot of people agree on something, they still come up and say, hey, I don't think this is true. Or they even directly counter the argument with something they think of themselves. So the first thing that I took from this book is being very, very critical. And well, Plato is actually so there are several arguments where the other philosophers and friends of Plato build up a really nice scene, which sounds very plausible, and Plato smashes it, and they get annoyed by it, and they actually tell him, hey, don't do this, don't be like that, just tell us what we have to do. And Plato then, there's the second point, or connects to the second point, says, no, you have to do it yourself. You have to reflect, you have to think of it yourself. And he does that, he provokes the answers by questioning. So the first thing I take from it is the being critical, and the second one is, I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. The second one is asking questions so that the other person or other people reflect on something, or think more about something, think something over, or maybe if they have constructed an argument already and then are asked to think about it again, they will see it from a different angle as well. So I think personally that this is very interesting for everybody who has some goals in their life, because if you're critical, you really look at the goals, for example goals, and I'm just mentioning this as an example, and you see, is this really a goal that I want? How exactly do I want to have it? And you ask yourself these questions that in this book Plato asks his friends and fellow philosophers to actually come closer to the truth. So in the book, Plato and the other ones are in pursuit of the truth, and they approach it by being critical and asking questions. So I would like to invite you to do the same. Be critical with your own opinions and with other people's opinions, and ask a lot of questions to make yourself and other people reflect and think over what you think right now, or other people think right now. So in a way, Plato is actually kind of a master coach. Why? because he doesn't give answers to the people who come to him to have answers, but he helps them to discover their own answer to the question, and he does that by asking questions. That is exactly how a lot of coaches work. They don't give answers to their coachees, their clients, but they help them to discover the answer in the client, in the coachee. If you're interested in reading this book, it's actually good news because it is so old. It is in the public domain, which means that you can basically get it for free, and you can find it online for free. You can, you can find it at your bookshop, of course, as well. But you can find it online for free. You can find audio versions online for free, and all that in different languages. For example, I just downloaded the German version as well. I downloaded the English version as an audiobook from LibriVox.org, I think, or net, which I really liked. So yeah, just check it out, and it's for free.